Good morning, Professor. This is Sai Manideep. So today I'm going to discuss about validation engineering. So before getting into validation engineering, I would like to let you know there are four types of departments in pharmaceutical industry. And also today I'm going to discuss how validation engineering is related to pharmaceutical industry. So the four departments which are in the pharmaceutical industry are quality assurance QA, quality control QC, validation engineering, and production. So one of the major topic I'm going to discuss today about is validation engineering. So what is validation? Validation is the most important activity in pharmaceutical industry, and there are multiple types of validation in pharmaceutical, such as analytical method validation, process validation, cleaning validation, equipment validation, HVAC system validation, facility validation, computer and system validation. In every industry, validation plays an important role to produce results in a consistent manner. The validation procedure authorizes documentary evidences that a particular process, method, activity will consistently produce a product with the expected result. Any food and drug regulatory agency around the world does not only require products that meet its specification, but they also require processes, procedures, and intermediate inspection stages, testing adoptions that are designed to the produce similar predictable, consistent results that satisfy the regulatory and security requirements of the product being manufactured. The process of validation allows for the development of such procedures. This is to ensure that food and drug products are of a higher standard. The definition of the process validation is to gather and evaluate data through the design phase and to final stage of production in order to establish scientific evidence that a process is to able to consistently produce quality products. So as I told you earlier, in validation, there are different types of validation. These are process, cleaning, qualification, commissioning, computerized system validation, and analytical validation. So there are some parameters which are need to be followed during the validation process. And these are among them accuracy, precision, reproducibility, repeatability, specification, linearity, range, limit of detection, and limit of quantitation. The major parameter need to be followed is accuracy and limit of detection. So let's say for an accuracy, we need to define the lifetime of a medicine. So we need to mention the expiry date on a medicine, and we need to mention the chemicals and the complexes used into the production of, used in the production of the medicine. So limit of detection. After producing a tablet or a drug, so we find the limit of detection by placing it in a machine at the lowest temperature and the highest temperature so that it can be survived to the regular climatical conditions in all types of regions throughout the world. So before starting the production of a medicine, the basic first step is to do the cleaning validation. Cleaning validation is a documented setup that provides a high degree of assurance that a particular system piece of equipment is clean to predetermined standard and within acceptable limits. So to prevent contamination of a medicine, we need to do cleaning validation. So for cleaning validation, we use lubricants. We use different types of liquids so that it could clean the small microbial particles also. Pharmaceutical products are contaminated by a variety of materials, including lubricants, airborne materials, preparation residues, and microbes. So for example, how the contamination leads. If the before medicine has been the before batch would be different from the current batch of the production of a medicine. So if the cleaning validation is not done perfectly, so the before production medicine would get mixed up into the current production medicine, and the medicine get contaminated completely, so it might lead to the huge loss. Therefore, an appropriate cleaning procedure plays an important role in preventing contamination and cross contamination. Process validation. Process validation shows documented proof which can provide a higher level of assurance of a product will meet all programs specified by quality characters and specifications consistently. So after doing the validation, we give a documental proof where the quality assurance team approve so that a production can be started for a new batch extraction. So validation of a process also assures repeatability and decreases manufacturing errors, resulting in a higher level of output predetermined quality. Process validation can also be classified into four types of stage where the process is being evaluated: prospective validation, concurrent validation, retrospective validation, revalidation. So in prospective validation, prospective validation is an analysis of data gathered through the design and manufacturing of a product in order to confirm that the process can be reliably output products of a determined standard. Regulatory authorities like EMA and FDA, Food and Drug Audit, have published guidelines relating to this process validation and concurrent validation. In concurrent validation, batches are released for marketing prior to approval of batches of complete validation package based on the data of individual batch. It is acceptable where there is low demand of product, low shelf life of product, or life-threatening shortage of product. It can also be conducted when data from a replicate runs are unavailable because only limited number of batches are produced. So retrospective validation. Retrospective validation is a validating system that has been operating for some time. There are various schools of thought of how to approach retrospective validation. Revalidation. While validation is a process of collecting and documenting the information about the operating parameters, revalidation focuses on ensuring that the product's quality remains unaffected by changes in the process machinery, methods, and scale up, process and environment, etc. So equipment validation. Equipment validation for equipment. So let's say how equipment validation does work. So every validating equipment has a own lifetime. So let's say if a tablet punching machine has a life of punching 10 million tablets, but before we have already done the punching of 5 million tablets, so they will validate equipment, is it suitable for the production of next batch, because sometimes we need to continuously work on the batch even for 12 to 18 months. So this is how equipment validation work. Equipment or instrument validation is a common process for every industrial instrument or equipment. There are three main phases of equipment validation in pharma as are follows: pre-validation, process validation, post-validation, maintenance. Generally, these are four types of equipment validation and are covered under pre-validation, process validation phases. So pre-validation is like before starting a new batch, they validate the equipment, is this suitable for the particular batch production or not. And process validation, this validation goes when the batch is completely running, when the process, when the when the medicine is getting manufactured. At the time this process validation is done. Post validation, maintenance. So after completion of batch extraction, they will validate the equipment and still how much can we use that equipment. The four types of equipment validation are design qualification, DQ, installation qualification, IQ, operational qualification, OQ, performance qualification, PQ. So design qualification, it depends upon the equipment we use for the medicine. Let's say we use different equipment for tablets making, and we use different equipment for capsules making. Installation qualification and operational qualification. Operational qualification, we can say that how the medicine, we can say that how the equipment is running during the manufacturing process of a medicine. Performance qualification, it determines the lows and peaks, low and high peak temperatures of an equipment while manufacturing the medicine. Pre-validation equipment. The pre-validation is the first phase of equipment validation. Pre-validation includes design qualification, DQ, and installation qualification, IQ. Design qualification consists of user requirement specification, functional specification, operational specification, vendor qualification, factory acceptance, and installation consists of site acceptance test, installation of hardware and software, process validation of equipment. The next phase of validation is to produce validation. Process validation includes operational qualification, OQ, performance qualification, PQ, and revalidation. Operational qualification consists of functional test, security test. Performance validation consists of ongoing performance of equipment and specified application testing. Change in material. Changes in equipment, change in packing material, change in the manufacturing process are part of revalidation. These are the types of validation in pharmaceutical industry. So, summary. Simply, pharmaceutical validation is a program that confirms process, methods, and equipment or systems operate as intended. Ultimately, validation is a program demonstrating the intended use of process, methods, equipments, and systems. I'm glad to have this opportunity, Professor. Thank you so much.